You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast, where you'll learn step by step how to meet and seduce beautiful women. Whether you're looking for one night of fun, a week-long fling, or a long-term relationship. I'm your host, Trip, and the episode starts now. Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I'm your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. Now, we have a good episode for you today. It's actually a live video that I did on my YouTube channel. So maybe you've seen it. I don't know how many of people who listen to the How to Talk to Girls podcast watch anything on my YouTube channel, but I went ahead and I extracted the audio from that episode. It's called 7 Needy Things That Make You Look Like a Little Bitch. That's right. I'll be going over on this episode the things that make you look needy. The things that make you look needy. Now, why do you need to learn this? Why do you need to learn all about neediness? Well, I actually go over it quite in depth in this episode. So you're going to learn why it's important and why it's something that you need to stay away from as much as you can. Okay? But I'll give you a little hint right now. Neediness is one of the most unattractive traits that you could have when it comes to attracting women. So we want to make sure to avoid that at all costs, and I show you how to do it. Now, you're going to hear me say a bunch that there's a URL, because there's a URL on the video screen, which is coached by Trip. So you're going to hear me talk about that quite a bit. What is that? Well, you're going to hear about it, but I'll give you a quick sneak peek. Coachedbytrip.com is the URL that you go to in order to fill out an application and do coaching. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching with me and signing up, then go ahead, go to coachedbytrip.com. And again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about it because you're going to hear so much about it right when you listen to this episode. So you hear about some coaching. You're going to hear some good information on how to get over looking needy, and I also answer a bunch of questions. So I think you're going to enjoy this episode. I handpicked this one from some of the lives that I've been doing lately. So sit back, take some notes, enjoy. Okay, what's going on? We are live. Welcome back to another Trip Advice Live. If you're watching this after the fact, then I want you to know that you can be joining us here every single Wednesday for the next couple Wednesdays. I might do this more, and you can be joining us here at 7:30 Central Time. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're going to be talking about all the ways in which you are needy. Here's the thing. We've all done it. We've all been there. Whether you've been needy when you first start dating a girl, I mean, really right from the beginning, or maybe you're needy when you get into a relationship. Maybe you're needy when you've been in a relationship for a long time. Okay. And I bet you're going to take away some things today where you're going to be like, I've done that, right? You're going to say, oh my God, I can't believe I've done that. And you're going to feel a little bit crappy about it, but that's okay because you're learning now what to do and what not to do. And I compiled a list. I think this is the complete list, I would say, in terms of the examples I've seen of people being needy. Okay. So what is needy? Needy means that you are trying to get something from, in this case, a girl, right? You need her validation, you need her attention, you need her to be there in some way to let you know, oh, she's interested in you. And if you don't get that, well, it's this terrible snowball effect where you get more and more needy. And then what happens is you end up losing the girl. So in just a second, I'm going to be explaining why it is unattractive to be needy and why that's a big deal. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some examples of what it looks like so you can see exactly what you might have done, might be doing, or things you're like, oh, didn't know that was needy. Probably shouldn't do that. Things you can prevent for the future. Sound good? And I know there's a chat going here. So what we can do is I'm going to be doing a Q&A afterwards where we can talk about all this stuff, neediness, and anything that I'm bringing up. And if you guys have any other questions, maybe we can go over those as well. Looks like there's some people all over the world. Someone just said hi from Thailand, which is pretty cool. So we'll get into all of that. Real quick, before we get into everything, you're going to see down below, what do you see there? A URL says coachedbytrip.com. As you have been seeing, I have been and am promoting coaching. What is coaching? What does it mean to be coached by Trip? It means that I'm going to be getting on the phone with you one-on-one on the phone, you and I, every week, and I'm going to personally coach you in how to meet and attract women. I'm working with a bunch of clients now. I've been coaching guys for technically for the past 10 years, officially with Trip Advice the past 8 years. So I've been doing this for a very long time, and I have to say, I'm pretty incredible at getting guys results in this area. What is results? Well, guys who have lost their virginity, guys who have gone on to get girlfriends, get into serious relationships, guys who have learned how to attract women and be able to get the women of their choice. And that's done through coaching, because I can pick out exactly what it is that you're doing wrong, what you need help with, and then I can give you the right advice that's customized to you and you only, so you can get results. So if you want to apply to coaching, it's very simple. Just go to coachedbytrip.com. There is an application. Fill out that application and as full as you can, and I will reach out to you and we will set up a call to see if coaching is a good fit. And I hope to work with you. We've been doing these now, like I said, for the past few weeks, these lives, and there's been a lot of people filling out applications, and I've been getting on the phone with you, and you've been signing up for coaching, and we're already working together, and it's been awesome. So if you're looking for that, go to coachedbytrip.com and we will help you out. We got a lot of people here live. And of course, if you're watching this later, that means that probably ready to get into some good stuff. So let's get into it. People are saying very nice things. Thank you, Trip. Listen to you since 2016. Start off with your podcast. You're welcome. Someone said you're an inspiration to my dating channel, bro. Cool. Didn't know you had one, Alpha Interactions, but I will try to check it out if I can remember. So yeah, you guys listen up, chat in the chat box with each other if you want to, but take some notes. I think this is going to be good. Everyone's talking about peacocking. What is the deal with peacocking? We can talk about that later, but someone's asking about that quite a bit. Okay, so what are the things that are making you look needy? Let's start with number one. Oh, wait, we're not going to get into that yet. First, I got to tell you why neediness is unattractive. You know what? I'll tell you that afterwards, because I know you're probably like, Trip, just tell me what I'm doing. Maybe you already know. Like, I know neediness is unattractive. Okay, so fine. We'll get to that afterwards, but please stick around because you have to understand why this is unattractive. Because when you really understand why and get to the core of it, you know, there might be some other things that I don't, you know, I think I have the complete list here, but there might be other things that you're doing that are needy. I would say maybe this is not the complete list. This is the most common, but you know, there's other things out there that's making you look needy. It might be turning these people off, and you got to know what's going on. You got to get to the core of it. Okay. So you got to understand the why. All right, let's get into it. So here's a very common one. Things that make you look needy: over-texting. Over-texting. Let me give you a big tip right now. Here's the number one tip. Here's the technique. When you send a text message and she doesn't respond, do not send another text. What I'm trying to say is don't send a double text message. Okay? She sees the text message. If she's interested, she will get back to you. Sometimes people are busy. Let them do their thing. Okay? Some guys will text, not hear back. In 5 minutes, he'll send another text. Maybe even in a couple hours, you'll be like, what's going on? Unless it's time sensitive, which usually it's not. Even if it is, still, she sees it. You know? I mean, the only time sensitive thing I could think of is if you're asking her to have plans that night and she hasn't gotten back to you. The second text that you're going to send isn't going to make her respond faster. She should be aware of it, you know? So don't double text. And obviously, we should go without saying, don't triple text, quadruple text. Send one and let it be. And if you just got a girl's number and you text her, she doesn't respond. And I guess I should say in this case too, if you're texting with a girl who's someone you've been dating and she doesn't respond for like a few days, then you can text her again. But don't text her like, hey, where have you been? What's going on? I haven't heard from you. What's happening? Are you okay? Is everything okay? Instead, just start a new conversation. Maybe she did miss it, maybe. Or maybe she thought about texting you back and got busy. Then at that point, she'll explain that. Like, oh, sorry, da. course, it's not going to be a good sign if she text messages you a couple days later. It means that you're not in the forefront of her mind. You know what I'm saying? So it could be complicated like that. But just understand that over texting is too much, okay? She'll get back to you. We just got to be patient here, okay? We just got to be patient. Lots of people in the chat. Love it. Keep it up. So that is number one. We're going to do 6 more in terms of the things that are making you look needy. Got a lot of people here. Let's keep going. Over-complimenting. Over-complimenting. This makes you look needy also. So over-complimenting, what does this mean? Let's say you give a girl a compliment. You're like, hey, you look beautiful. You look beautiful tonight. Okay? And then 10 minutes later, you give her another one. And then an hour later, you give her another one. And then 10 minutes later, you give her another one. It's like she gets it, okay? It's being needy. Why is it being needy? Because when you're over-complimenting, it's not genuine, okay? It's just not genuine. She might not be thinking it on that level, but subconsciously, she knows it's not genuine. Because really, why would you have to compliment someone that much? It's never necessary. One is enough. One every once in a while is enough. They know. So if you're trying to do it more, it's as if you're trying to get something from her. And what is it that you're trying to get? Maybe you're trying to get her to compliment you. So that's you trying to get validation. That looks weak. That's needy. Okay, so you trying to over-compliment and do all these nice things verbally. We'll get into some of those other things in a bit. That's showing that you're lacking something, like you're trying to get something from her. You need something. Now remember, stick around because after I give you these examples, I'll be explaining why neediness is so unattractive. Anyone in the chat? What if you're married? What if you're married? All these things go. Okay? All these things go. So, yes, I'm trying to think if there's any exceptions of anything I'm going to be saying here. So I'm looking at my list. Yes. Yep. This goes for marriage as well. You know, I think you can get away with it a little bit more over texting. And when I say over texting, I don't mean bombarding her with 7 different texts. If you double text and you're married to her, it's like probably not the biggest deal. But again, what are you trying to accomplish with a double text? If she's married to you, she's looking at your text messages, she sees what's going on. So there's a reason why she's not responding. So now I'm almost convincing myself, maybe you still don't need a double text. You know, if it's like a situation where you guys are in a fight and so you text her and she doesn't respond and you're like, well, are you mad? Or like, I'm sorry or something like that. That conversation shouldn't be happening over text message. That stuff has to be happening in person where you guys can sit there and talk to each other. Why in person versus text? Because text message, a lot of things get lost. A lot of things get lost in texting because people read text messages in their own voice. So maybe saying something to her and she reads it in a way where it sounds mean or nasty and you're just like, I never meant it like that, or sarcastic. You know, there's only so many emojis and punctuation you can use to get your point across. Sometimes people read it wrong. So all communication that's serious should be happening in person, not over text. I'm going a little bit off tangent, but just understand here, again, we're talking about texting and why you shouldn't be texting when you're in a serious relationship, anytime when it's a serious conversation. But we're talking about over texting, right? So even if you're in a serious relationship or in a marriage, you shouldn't be over texting. Do these apply for women? Of course they do. I'm just not a dating coach for women, so I'm not going to be telling you what they should be doing. But yes, a lot of the stuff I do teach applies to women as well. And if they're doing it and you're like, okay, you're being needy and you're turned off, you can leave. Okay, maybe not so simple if you're married, but I'm just saying if you meet a girl and you just met her and it's been a couple of weeks and she's texting you so much or she's over-complimenting you a lot, you know, that's not a good sign. All right, let's get to number 3. This is needy. You ready for this one? Saying I love you too fast. Saying I love you too fast. So, saying I love you too fast is needy. Why? Because in my humble opinion, I do not believe that you are in love with someone that fast, okay? I think that you're saying that because you're trying to get something from her. I think you're trying to get her maybe to like you by saying that. You're trying to get closer to her. in some way, and that's fine. I mean, we say I love you. We say these deeper things, compliments to feel closer to someone. That's okay. But if you're saying I love you within, I don't know, anywhere from like 1 day of meeting her all the way to 2 to 3 months, I think that's a little soon. You can actually check out a video on my channel called When to Say I Love You. I'm not going to get too deep into that because we're not talking about that. That's not the topic today. But saying I love you too fast is a big problem. So you got to know when to do it. So check it out. Just type into Google or YouTube or on my actual Trip Advice YouTube page, When to Say I Love You, and I break it all down. But you don't want to say it too fast because it's going to be overbearing. It's like, whoa, he loves me. It's like, too much, It just gives off this sort of needy vibe, like overbearing. I guess I keep on saying that word, but that's the only word I can really come up with. Like it's too much. It's kind of similar to over complimenting in a way. And also, I want to say this too. If you're in a relationship and you are saying I love you, you shouldn't be saying it a billion times either. Depends on how long you're in the relationship for. Let's say let's say you're in a marriage. It's all the way to marriage. Saying I love you a couple times a day, that's fine. Saying it like 10 times a day, a little too much. Kills the quality of what you're trying to say. You know what I mean? Like it just kills a little bit. People get desensitized very easily when you over compliment or say I love you too much. It doesn't have that special meaning anymore. So in order to keep it special, you want to be a little bit more unpredictable, and you want to be saying I love you or giving compliments just a little less. You want to just be kind of peppering it in every once in a while so they feel special, Let's go to number 4. Okay. Asking her, do you like me? Never, ever ask a woman, do you like me? Okay. The only thing I could ever think would be an exception to this rule is if you're like in a long-term marriage with someone or a long-term relationship and you guys are fighting so much and you just have this serious conversation. You look at that and you go, do you even like me anymore? Like, is this even a thing? Like when it gets to this really low point in your relationship, because that's not coming from a needy place. Like, do you like me? You're just saying like, are you in this still? Like, are we in this together? Is this working? Like, do you like me? Do you love me still? And that's a very rare, special case that's going to happen. But any other time, do not ask her. It's needy. It's needy, right? Because you're saying, oh, do you like me? Do you like me? It's just showing that you need all this is really related to you trying to get validation. And when you're trying to get validation, it means that you're not able to validate yourself, which means that you don't have your emotions in control and it's not very attractive. It's showing a lot of insecurities, which we'll talk about too in a little bit. This is all relating back to insecurities. When you show neediness, you show insecurities, you show weakness, unattractive, okay? So you might be thinking, well, Trip, I want to know if she's interested in me. How do I know? You don't need the verbal, okay? You don't need her to say that to you. All you need is for her to show up. That's it. You need her to show up. Show up where? Continue to be seeing you. Continue to be going on dates with you. If you're in a relationship, continuing to get intimate, physical, having sex with each other, all these things. That is the stronger version of do you like me? You don't need to ask her that. You'll find out through actions. You've heard the term actions speak louder than words. This is exactly that, okay? Actions speak louder than words in this case. That's how you know if she'll like you. I have some videos talking about how do you know if a girl's interested? And the number one way to know if she's interested is if she shows up, replies to your requests of hanging out, again, showing up, she's there with you, and you guys are, again, specifically here, out of the friend zone, right? So just because she shows up doesn't mean she likes you. But what's the difference between being in the friend zone and not? Physicality. Being intimate with her physically, like I just said. Cool, let's keep going. By the way, quick interruption here. As you can see, this video is sponsored by coaching. coachbytrip.com. There you can apply to do coaching one-on-one with me. So if you're looking to take your dating life to the next level because you have approach anxiety, don't know what to say to girls when you go over to them, you're not getting the quality of woman you want, you have no idea how to trigger attraction, this is a big problem for you, and you have access to a phone or Skype, I can coach you and I can help you with all of this. I work with guys every single day, coaching them and getting them to the point where they are meeting girls, getting over their social anxiety, getting on dates, sleeping with the woman that they want, and getting into relationships with the kind of woman that they want. So fill out an application right now, coachedbytrip.com. Okay, back to our programming. 3 more. We got 3 more. So what did we say so far? For those of you who are just showing up because you're here for the live, we said over texting, over complimenting, saying I love you too fast, and asking her, do you like me? Or anything related to that. Okay. Number 5, you're always available to her. You're always available to her. Okay. What does this mean? This means that your whole life is surrounding her. You don't go hang out with friends. You don't have your own hobbies. You don't spend time alone. And that it's always revolving around her, and you don't have this other life. Okay? You don't have any other passions, any other things that you're working on. And it's all about her. This is needy. Well, of course, right? Obviously, this is needy. This is needy because what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I need you to fulfill the good times in my life. You are the only one who can do this for me. I have nothing else going for me. Again, here, you're kind of seeking validation. In a way, yep, this is an insecurity. This is definitely an insecurity because you're not secure with your life because you don't have anything going on with your life. So what do? You try to reach out to her. So please, this is more, this could be in the beginning of dating. This is also more into a relationship. You're just always available. Don't be spending every single night with her. It's okay. Sometimes there's going to be weeks where you spend a lot of time, 4 or 5, even 6 nights when you're like deep into a relationship. You've been dating for a while. And it happens. This is like before you guys live together. But even more importantly, when you do live together, you got to create that separation. You got to be able to go and do your own things because it will go stale very fast. And again, it will be unattractive because you're needy. And yes, if you guys are asking, well, what about women? Same goes for them. Same goes for them. Okay. All right. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Always available to her. If you guys have any questions about that and I see it in the chat, I will answer it. Someone said, hey man, we've been 3 months now in a relationship. She tells me all of a sudden she can't talk like before. And Sundays are a no-no because her family doesn't approve of it. What do you think is up? Well, we don't know for sure, but I would ask her, what does that mean she can't talk like before? Like you guys don't talk as much? Sounds like maybe you in high school, her family doesn't approve of it. I don't know what that means. It'd be very strange if her family wouldn't be approving of it if she's an adult. So, all right, let's move on. Number 6, constantly writing things on her social media. Constantly writing things on her social media. It's okay to support her on social media. You like a post, you write a comment, but if you're overdoing it, meaning you're commenting a lot. I mean, it's okay to like all the stuff that she puts out. You don't have to do that. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. But if you're commenting constantly, and this kind of goes back to texting, like you're messaging her a lot on Facebook or you're DMing her Instagram, or if this video is still around in 10 years, whatever other social media platform there is, if you're showing constant attention, what does that say? It says, you have no life. And then you're just focused on her. You're not doing anything else. I'd say this one is very specific. I don't think a lot of guys are doing this, but I think nowadays with how big social media is, they might be doing it. So be careful. Be careful how active you are with her on social media. Again, create that space, create that distance. That's what's going to create more of that connection. Stick around in just a second. I'm going to be telling you again why it's important not to be so needy. That's going to be very, very important. Okay? You got to understand why neediness is unattractive. I kind of hinted at it already because I was saying how you're showing an insecurity, but why is that unattractive? We'll talk about it. Okay? Oh, someone said, okay, so she is an adult, but yeah, I don't get it too. It's like she has career goals and stuff, and her parents want her to concentrate and stuff. I just feel something's off. Ask her. Ask her, but you can ask in a not needy way. There's a way to not be needy when you're having conversations. You inquire. You be curious. You don't come at her and say, "Oh my God, what's wrong? What's going on?" Say, "Hey, I just want to know, like, is everything okay? Is everything all right? I just want to make sure that we're on the same page here. Am I missing anything? Seems like our communication has been less and less, and we're not seeing each other as much. Is everything all right?" Okay. All right. Last one. Last one. A lot of guys get this wrong, especially guys who don't understand how attraction works. This is a big one. Buying her gifts a lot. Buying her gifts. I'm not talking about picking up the bill. I'm talking about like buying her stuff. Now, a birthday, a holiday, and maybe like once in a while throughout the year. Let's just say a birthday, a holiday, maybe once or twice throughout the year. Maximum. You send her flowers a couple times. This is if you're in a relationship. I guess this is also, I constantly correct myself because I have so much to say here. If you're starting a relationship, well, you shouldn't be buying any gifts for her if you're starting off a relationship. Again, a birthday might come around. Yeah, get her a small gift. A holiday might come around when you guys are dating. You get her something small. But as time goes on, you're dating serious, you don't have to do much more than that. Guys think you need to buy a girl stuff or get her flowers to like you. And I get it. Intuitively, that makes sense. You do something nice for someone. Good example of that is maybe buying them something that they're going to like you. But you do this too much, it desensitizes the whole gift giving, and also can show that you're needy because are you getting her gifts really because you want to get her something nice and want her to be happy? I'm sure half that answer is yes, and I think the other half is you want her to like you more. Well, it's obvious. If you're overdoing it, buying her gifts all the time, goes back to what I was saying before, over texting, over complimenting, saying I love you too much. It's like you're trying to get something back from her, and you're showing her consciously, if she's very smart and can tell, or subconsciously, that there's like a hole, okay? A metaphorical hole inside of you, showing insecurities, okay? Someone said, I knew a guy who bought a girl a $3,000 gift in the first month of dating a girl. It didn't last. Well, that's the thing too. Who knows if that's what turned her off or it just didn't work out. And then look at that, you know? Someone said, I don't recommend letting that idea of a dream girl become a belief. That is the core of putting her on a pedestal. I'm not sure the context of what that means, but that's an interesting thought. Someone said, how can I change the neediness impact on her to confidence guy? Okay, so let's get into that because I just gave you all the different things, right? So these are the 7 things that make you look needy. How do you fix this? Why is this unattractive? What's going on? Well, what's happening, like I've been saying, keyword here is insecurity. You're feeling insecure about yourself. You're feeling bad about who you are. You are feeling maybe that something's going on in the dating process. And this is an irrational thought, like she doesn't like you or something's going on. So you feel you have to text her a lot, compliment her a lot, say I love you really quickly, ask her constantly, do you like me? Always be available to her. Again, I'm just repeating all the things we're talking about. You feel like you got to buy her gifts. You got to be commenting on her social media all the time, all these things, because you have this insecurity. Insecurities are a weakness. Now, they're normal. I'm not saying like everything's going to go to hell if you have this. No, this is now an awareness that you have an insecurity. You work on it. But showing insecurities, because it's a weakness, it's unattractive. A woman wants to know that you have your things handled. And you know what? Maybe you have an insecurity. The act of showing the insecurity is the bad part. If you can keep it in and work on it, because showing her the insecurity is not going to do anything. Doing all these needy things, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to help you. It's just going to turn her off because you shouldn't need someone else. You should only be able to rely on yourself. Okay? I'm not saying that you can't have a nice connection with somebody. I'm not saying that you guys can't support each other or like need each other in this way of a connection, but I'm talking about overdoing it. You should still be independently able to emotionally support yourself and have a life where you're doing things that are making you happy and not having to put that on others. You shouldn't have to put that burden on other people. And a woman should not have to put that on you either. I hope I'm being clear here. I know this is kind of deep, but again, it's a weakness. It says that you don't have your shit together. Now, why is that so unattractive? Well, when it comes down to a woman being attracted to a man, a woman, technically, generally speaking, has feminine qualities and a man has masculine qualities. And when those things are presented to each other, attraction is created through the masculine and the feminine. You are attracted to her feminine traits, and she's attracted to your masculine traits. Her feminine traits are physically might be like breast size, might be her long hair, her skin, her symmetry in her face. That's some external stuff. Some inner feminine qualities might be caring, nurturing, things like that. For a man, we're talking here more about the inner qualities that are attractive, the masculine qualities. And one of those things is being able to kind of have a grasp at life. Like you have direction, you have purpose, and you are mentally strong, and you don't have any kind of emotional weaknesses. Again, it's normal to like be a dude who's a little bit anxious or to be upset or sad at times. Like emotions are normal. It's okay to experience those, but it gets to the point where you're letting them take control of you to the point where you're like, I got to text her all the time. Do you like me? Do you like me? Do you still like me? Or you're just like, oh, here's gifts, here's gifts. Like if you're doing it to that point, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This guy does not have this under control. And the same thing goes with women too, right? If they're doing this stuff too, and they're just like constantly, I need you. You're just like, do you not have your own life? Do you not have your own things going on? You're not busy? Like what's going on here? You know, you can like smell that desperation. Desperation's not sexy. Okay, so these are things that you got to work on. Again, don't beat yourself up if you're feeling this way. If you're feeling needy, don't worry. You can fix that. You can work on dealing with your insecurities. You can start creating a life. You can start working on your self-esteem, building your self-esteem to the point where you don't need to do all these things I'm listing here to get her validation. You can validate yourself. It's okay. What I'm saying is deal with it on your own and don't show it. You don't need to show it. There's no reason to do that. Let's go to the questions. I'm going to answer some questions real quick. If you're just joining us, as you see below, coachedbytrip.com is a URL that's going to take you to an application page if you're interested in doing some coaching. If you feel that you are needy or you want to work on this, maybe you're in a relationship, maybe you're single and you know you're needy and that's been causing you not to get women, we can work on this. I'm a master at helping out with this and coaching you and holding you accountable to be the strongest, most attractive version of yourself. And we will do that. And I will help you do that. Every single week we can get on the phone and do coaching. And I can give you the expertise on how to become the guy who is more masculine, who can attract beautiful women. And yes, we can do this even if you, we can't do it if you're broke because you won't be able to afford coaching. But if you can afford coaching, but you still feel that you are ugly or you're a loser or you just don't feel like you have what it takes, we can fix all that stuff. Okay? So, oh, wow, thank you. Someone did a super chat. I always forget that is available. You don't have to do that. I can try to answer your question anyways, not looking for a super chat. But since you did it and it's literally in my face, I'll answer your question. Can you get another chance with a girl after being needy? Yes, you can. There's always a second chance, but you really got to show her that you're not needy. You have to sit her down and talk to her and say, hey, listen, I was being a little bit needy. That's my own insecurity. I've worked on that, or I'm working on that. You know, just let her know like what the deal is. Like be casual about it. Like you don't have to be like, oh, I've been needy and I don't know what I've done. You don't have to be dramatic about it. Just say, hey, I realized in these moments I was being a little bit needy and I recognize it. And it's something I'm working on. And I think we can get through this. Again, that's kind of a general way of bringing it up. I don't know the inner workings of your relationship or what you've done to be needy, but that would be a really good way to answer that. So yes, you can, but man, neediness is so unattractive that it's tough. Hi, Trip. Approaching a girl immediately after seeing her at streets or wherever is not needy. No, that's not needy. That's actually the opposite. Well, it's not the opposite, but it's just not needy. You're just going up to a girl, and it's a very masculine thing to do, to go up and have the courage to go and talk to her and say what's up. If you want to know how to overcome anxiety of approaching, this is not what we're going to be talking about here today. I have videos on that, just free videos on my YouTube channel. Look up approach anxiety, and I show you how to get rid of that. So, oh, cool. Good quote here. I want you, I desire you, but I don't need you. Love that. Love that. That's really cool. Adrian Burgone said that. I want you, I desire you, but I don't need you. Exactly. You shouldn't need anything because you should be self-sufficient, able to take care of yourself. Trip, your tone of voice is really relaxing today. What happened, my man? I don't know. Maybe I'm tired. Sometimes your voice can get sexy when you're tired. Hey, Trip, how do you get respect back after being needy? What are the steps? Honestly, you got to just stop being needy. Just like stop it immediately, and that should help. That's kind of the cool thing is as it's happening, it's like, oh, this is enough. Like this guy is being too much. But if you can just stop, you'll be in good shape. Good questions, guys. What else you got? Do you think girls like being spammed with texts? No. Of course not. Again, that's needy. Someone said, by the way, I am a system. I control myself with sending messages. I look at the chat before I write and then calculate the needy if it's too much or no, and then I write. That's not bad. Yeah, write it out beforehand. Analyze it. Like, is this being needy at all? Here's the formula to know if you're being needy. If you're doing something and you're doing it because you're trying to get something from her to make you feel better about yourself. Are you doing something selflessly or selfishly? Because all the things I mentioned today are selfish. The over-texting, over-complimenting, saying I love you too fast, asking do you like me? Like you're just doing it for you. Really think to yourself, is this selfless? Like when you get a birthday present, for example, because we're talking about giving a lot of gifts, I'd say most of the time a birthday present is fairly selfless. I don't think you're trying to, unless you're trying too hard with the birthday present. But either way, it's her birthday. You're doing something nice for her. It makes sense. But if you're just doing a lot of that for no reason, Exactly. Daniel Coca said it well. It's the intention behind the action. I agree. It is the intention behind the action. And you got to ask yourself, what is the intention? What is my true intention here? If you're worried that she doesn't like you, again, you just resort back to, is she meeting up with you? Are you guys intimate? Are you guys having sex? Are you guys in a normal relationship? Or is she, if you're not in a relationship yet, you guys are just dating, is she responding to you? Someone said, Tank the Ripper, you have a date, but it's set months from now? That's out of control. Why would you set a date for months from now? The only thing I can ever imagine, I can't even imagine why that would be. Tank the Ripper, you got to move on to dating other women. You cannot wait around for that. That is needy in itself. Because you're showing a lack of abundance. Like there's not enough women in your life that you need her. Oh, terrible. It's giving you some tough love, my man. Yeah, someone just told a story. I dated a girl. She went crazy on me, even told me to meet her mother. After the date, I texted, called too much. Boom, she was gone. So she was crazy, or you were needy, or both of you guys are maybe needy? Yes, being needy is the number one no-no. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. We are human. It is tough for us. But now you're aware of it to catch it, Good question. Remy said, I heard that you don't treat your woman as your best friend to talk about issues. That's what your bros are for. You can't treat your girl like your guy friends. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, it's okay once in a while if, listen, here's the deal. If you're upset, you're in a relationship and you're visually upset and she says what's wrong and you say nothing, well, you're just lying and you're confusing her. So you can tell her maybe what's wrong, but I wouldn't let her be the person to help solve your issues all the time. You have other people for that. Try to work on having other people in your life, like your bros, or maybe a family member, or maybe a therapist, maybe a dating coach, right? To help you with some of those issues instead of always going to her for them. Because if you're just always complaining all the time, you're always upset about something, it's just too much. Trip, tell me what the source of all this social anxiety we feel is. Man, there's not one source. Social anxiety can come from the way you were raised. It comes from just naturally having anxiety around talking to women because there's theories in evolutionary psychology that we only had so many chances to talk to a woman for it to go right because we lived in smaller communities. And so it was very scary because if we didn't approach that one girl correctly, it meant we wouldn't procreate. That's one theory. Thoughts on sex tourists? I don't know. You mean by sex tourists like someone going to another country to sleep with their women? Hey man, do whatever you want as long as you're treating people with respect. So just so you know, don't forget, coachedbytrip.com is the URL to go to if you want coaching by myself. Go to coachedbytrip.com, apply today to get coaching, and I will coach you through what you need to know to be able to attract women, not be needy, and have a dating life that you desire. So if you want to be attracting multiple women that you're attracted to, the ones that you like, so you can have the choice and not settle, I'm going to put you on a customized plan and fix these issues inside of you. So if you have social anxiety, or you're just not sure how to continue a conversation, you're just not sure how to make a girl into you, I'm going to teach you how to do that. And you do not need to be Mr. Suave, good-looking guy. So apply today at coachedbytrip.com. Guys, I'm going to sign off here. This has been great, going live here for about 45 minutes. You've asked great questions. I hope this has helped you. So stay tuned next week. I'll do this same time. We'll do another topic. I hope you've learned something about being needy, because neediness is no good, right? That is correct. All right, stopping the stream. Talk to you next week.